South Park definitely feels like a small neighborhood while being close to downtown and Balboa Park. And to its east, you've got the 15, and to its west, you've got Balboa Park, and just below it, you've got the 94. That's in essence what encompasses South Park. Now, what is South Park? South Park is a charming neighborhood where you're gonna find lots of older homes that were built in the 1920s and the 1930s. Some of the homes are actually on the larger side in comparison to North Park, and they have a larger lot size sometimes, depending of course on where in South Park you are looking. South Park is best for people who want that charm, that slower pace, and that community vibe. It's also great for buyers who don't mind the maintenance of an older home and love the older home personality. It's not best for those who want brand new homes or lots of parking. Also, maybe not the best for someone who needs to get on the freeway like right away. South Park is central, you can get on the freeway, but depending on which street you're on in South Park, you might have to go down a few windy roads before you actually get to the freeway. Some of the micro areas of South Park include the Village, which is mostly on 30th and Beach Street. Here, it's the most kind of like walkable area of South Park. Funny enough, they do have a Target, and you'll definitely find lots of little cafes like Madeline Cafe or Communal Coffee. There's also some pretty good restaurants in South Park. So there's Buena Forchetta, there's Station Tavern, there's Kindred. You've got lots of options. On the edge of South Park, you're gonna find Golden Hill. Golden Hill is a little bit more dense, and the housing in the area is kind of hit and miss. There's lots to do in South Park. So for things to do, obviously you've got Balboa Park, you've got the tennis courts, you've got the swimming, you've got the golf, you've got the walking trails, and then of course you've got casual dining, you have quick access to North Park, Golden Hill, downtown, and the airport. There's lots of community in South Park, so there's different community events, there's local markets, and you definitely get to see your neighbors more in South Park. When it comes to your commute, again, South Park is centrally located within San Diego, so it's fairly easy to get to the airport or get to downtown, and you can definitely get to other parts of San Diego by getting onto the 15 or the 94. Parking can be a little bit tricky, and street flow as well, depending on the time of day, where if you're needing to get into the Village, for example, during peak times, it can be pretty tight. When it comes to schools in South Park, because South Park is more of that neighborhood feel and a bit smaller, there's not a whole lot of schools in South Park. So you definitely have one very unique school in South Park, which is Albert Einstein Charter Elementary School, and this is known for its language immersion. So they've got German and they have Spanish options. There's also McGill Elementary School. When it comes to middle school, you'll have to probably drive up to North Park to get to Roosevelt Middle School. And then when it comes to high school, you're gonna have to drive down to San Diego High. When it comes to your housing inventory in South Park, you definitely gonna have a lot more historical craftsman style homes. You're gonna have some Spanish style homes, bungalows, as well as restored character homes. The nice thing is sometimes in South Park, you can find a couple of properties that have something called the Mills Act. And what the Mills Act does is it allows you to have a lower property tax. And in some cases, you'll save up to 70% off on your property tax. In South Park, you're not gonna find too many condos and townhomes. There are a few, but a majority of the inventory in South Park is definitely gonna be more of the homes, and like I said before, the older homes built in the 20s and 30s. Some of the properties in South Park, because they're a little bit on the older side, may need more amps, so you might have to update your electrical panel, which can potentially be a process. You do have to get permits for that. And then you've got to look at roofs, you've got to look at plumbing, you've got to look at the sewer line. So there's a lot to look out for when it comes to these older homes. Again, you're talking about homes that are in some cases 100 years old. And right now, what's also really popular is the ADUs. And so ADUs are the accessible dwelling units that a lot of people are adding. So if you do have one of the lots in South Park that has more space, then you might consider adding an ADU. When it comes to pros and cons of South Park, it definitely has a strong neighborhood vibe. It's got that community identity. You get that central location without it feeling busy, and it's great for buyers who value character and vibes. Some of the downsides to South Park is it's definitely on the more expensive side. South Park is actually oftentimes more expensive than North Park, and it's pretty comparable in price sometimes with certain properties in Mission Hills, for example. With South Park, you're limited often in inventory because a lot of the folks that are in South Park, they don't have that regular turnover. They've been living there for years and don't really intend to move. Again, some of the streets in South Park tend to be on the smaller side, so parking can be an issue. Also, with the older homes, again, some of the downsides could be potential issues with foundation, roof, plumbing, electrical, etc. When it comes to South Park versus North Park is definitely more of a busier vibe. You've got a lot more breweries, restaurants, you've got a lot more action when it comes to North Park. South Park is a little bit more mellow, a little bit more space. You're definitely closer to Balboa Park and Morley Field, so it really depends what you're looking for on which one's going to be right for you. If you want to have a more in-depth conversation about South Park or North Park, or which is right for you or which would be a good fit depending on your lifestyle, then feel free to reach out and book a call with me. I'm Lena Saba, your local real estate professional. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.